Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome in. It's everybody's favorite uncle, Uncle Jimmy. Welcome to another powerful episode of the podcast. Today, I'm genuinely honored and excited to bring you a guest whose story will hit you right in the heart and leave you rethinking what resilience really looks like. Please join me in giving a massive, heartfelt welcome to Dan MacQueen, a two-time traumatic brain injury survivor, an incredible motivational speaker, and someone who's turned unimaginable adversity into a mission to help others rise stronger every single day. Dan, thank you so much for being here with us. Your journey is nothing short of inspiring. At 28, living an active, healthy life, you faced a sudden brain hemorrhage on June 21st, 2014, that led to emergency brain surgery. Weeks in a coma, months of grueling rehab, and having to relearn the basics. Walking, talking, even smiling. You've survived two emergency brain surgeries and came out the other side not just recovering, but thriving with the message that reframes setbacks as opportunities to be #better than yesterday. You've shared your story with audiences at places like the NHS Wolfson Rehabilitation Centre in London, Headway, West London, Hootsuite, Spendesk, and beyond. Changing rooms, shifting perspectives, and equipping people with practical, action-oriented tools to tackle their own obstacles. Dan, your promise to change the room isn't just words. It's what you've already done time and time again. So listeners, buckle up, because Dan is here to remind us that perspective is everything and that we all have the grit inside us to keep moving forward one step at a time. Dan, welcome to the show. We're so grateful to have you here, pal.
Hey, Jimmy, thanks for having me on the show. A pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much. So take us back, right, to June 21st, 2014. What was the ordinary day like before everything changed with that optometrist visit in the sealed envelope?
Yeah, for sure. So working in tech, a company called Hootsuite, working post-sale on onboarding clients in EMEA, so Europe, Middle East, and Africa. So I think clients in Saudi Arabia in the morning, Milan in the afternoon, and then Devon in the UK in the evening. Big nights out of the pub. We had a keg at the office, so late nights at the pub on Friday nights. Night bus home at 3 a.m. Yeah, paid once a month in London.
Oh,
Took me a few months to figure this out. So I was pretty, living high on the hog the first few weeks. And then by the end of the month, I was beans on toast, literally. But I was having these headaches and they got worse for a few weeks, taking painkillers like candy for them. My head was pounding. So the tube one day, the tube site is zigzag around London, lumbering towards Nine Hill Gate tube station on the district line. That's the slow roll at the best of times. Headaches were so bad, my vision turned starry and I saw spots. Slowly started to fade to black. It was a race to who could arrive at the station first, me or the blindness. Arrived at Nine Hill Gate tube station, stepped onto the platform, behind the gap, and the lights went out. I couldn't see a thing. So Jimmy, I want to ask you, all of a sudden you're thrust into the depths of blindness on a station in London. You can hear the station, you can smell the station, but you can't see a thing. What do you think? What do you feel? What do you do?
I'm losing my mind then. I'm grabbing somebody, screaming for help. I don't know what to do.
That's a good response. That's an appropriate response. I told you what I did, and that's absolutely nothing. I froze like a statue and thought and thought and thought. How am I going to get out of this pickle? I'm thinking. I wish I could tell you how to get an answer for this. I did not. After the longest 3 minutes of my life, my vision comes back, and I carried on with my day. But the next day, I went storming back into A&E. Now, A&E is action emergency in the UK, like ER in Canada, United States. What's going on with me? I was blinded on a tube station in London. This is not normal. They ran some more tests, and again, they thought it was vertigo. They sent me home. On the way out, they told me I could always get my eyes checked by an optometrist. Optometrist, I thought, that's rather odd. I'm not a doctor. I don't plan to play one now, so sure, why not? Next day, I had to come back with a vengeance, and I found myself in Mr. Patel's chair. He was midway through the routine exam when he stops the exam, excused himself in the room, and he comes back a few minutes later with a sealed envelope he hands me. He told me to go directly to Moorfields Hospital, which I did. Well, Jimmy and listeners, tell a lie. I stopped at home first to grab a Jack Reacher book by Lee Child, a phone charger by cheat. Then I arrived at Moorfields Hospital and the sealed envelope. They ran the same test there again, then escalated me to Charing Cross Hospital. We're getting somewhere. I'm thinking, this is a positive thing. This is a good thing, right?
Yeah.
Now, it turns out, Jimmy, I required emergency brain surgery tomorrow. Now, it turns out my rules would change altogether. So after a frantic back and forth with folks in Canada, the last text message my mom received reads, "I'll see you soon, Mom. Think I'll have a new haircut next time I see you. Love, Dan." So Mom's in there, flying to London on June 21st, 2014. I'm on the operating table. Something goes horribly wrong. And I have a massive bleed in the brain, a brain hemorrhage. The cyst burst when they operated. So Mom lands and finds me in critical condition. So in a coma for 4 weeks, was not a consciousness for months of this. When all of a sudden I was able to walk, talk, and smile again. That's where everything kind of kicked off, Jimmy.
So Dan, what was going, so just take us back to that day, like on the tube, right? So you just go blind, you said, right? So you said about, about 3 minutes?
3 minutes, I'd say.
3 minutes, right? And So are you still on the train at the time, or do you step off? Or
No,
you
I
just
stepped
keep
on the
riding it?
platform because I wanted to be at least on the platform where I'm at so I could like orientate myself and not be like kind of blind on a tube station, a train. So I stepped on the platform and then the lights went out and I was like, shit, man, this is not good. Like, what do I do here? And I froze like a statue. Like I just froze. I couldn't move. And I thought and I thought and I thought. And nothing came to me. I didn't know how to get out of the situation. And then the vision came back 3 minutes later. Turns out the pressure was caused from a build of pressure in my brain, caused from the non-cancerous system I shunt in my head. That was causing the vision issues and the headaches that caused the issues to rise up so dramatically. But it was terrifying, man.
Yeah, I can only imagine, in it comes back, right? Your vision. But what are you feeling then when the vision comes back? Are you like, okay, I'm good now, or I gotta go to the doctors, immediately?
Well, I had been to A&E once before this to get checked out, and I thought it was vertigo. They sent me home. They gave me some vertigo pills, which didn't do anything because it wasn't vertigo.
Yeah.
And so the next day I went back to the doctor and was like, hey, this isn't what it is. I was blind on a tube station in London. This is not normal. What's going on here? And they ran some more tests again and thought it was vertigo. They sent me home. So a misdiagnosis, unfortunately, but at least they told me to go to the optometrist and he caught this all. The optometrist, Mr. Patel
Wow. So you wake up from the coma, right? Unable to walk, talk, or even smile. What was the very first moment of awareness, and what emotion hit you the hardest?
I woke up from the coma, my mom, dad, and brother on the bed, and I'm trying to talk, but I can't talk, right? Because my vocal cords are fried from the tracheotomy. And I point over their camera and I go, you, give me a pen and paper and write down, get me out of here.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, I gotta get out of Dodge, man. This is not good. This is not a good place to be. They're all like dotting on me, and I can't talk. My eyes, one eye's wonky as hell. I can't move because my leg had atrophied in the coma. Like I was just like out of sorts, man. So it was a pretty dire situation out of the gate. Then slowly being told, hey, Dan, you had a brain hemorrhage. You're in a hospital in London. It's 4 weeks since this happened. Like you were in a coma for 4 weeks. And I'm like, this is not good at all, man.
Yeah.
So I slowly started piecing together my past 4 weeks, and I was like, well, this is not a good situation to be in here, right?
And what's mom and
I
dad
realized
like
that I
when you
was
come out of the
still.
coma?
Sorry?
What is mom and dad like when you come out of the coma? They just so
they're
happy that
relieved.
you're awake?
Well, because they didn't think I'd make it out of this, right? Like when I was in a coma, they had to keep my core temperature down below 40 degrees, otherwise it'd be brain damage. So these ice blankets above and below me to keep my core temperature down. It was a violent shivering. Temperature kept soaring because alarms kept going off. Blood pressure kept soaring and alarms went off. It was just madness in the ICU. They didn't think I'd make it out of this, and I told my parents as much. They're like, he may not make it out of this coma. He's in a bad way right now. So like they were relieved to see me come out of the coma, but then like when you wake up from the coma, being told, hey, this is what happened to you. Then your whole life kind of comes to a crashing halt and you realize, hey, I was a healthy, active guy last weekend or like yesterday, 4 weeks ago, yesterday. But now I can't do any of these things that I used to take for granted. I was a pretty active guy, played a lot of sports, traveled around Europe lots, was in Lithuania the weekend before this with my ex-girlfriend. I've been complaining about headaches, but I mustered through it and powered through it. But like life changed on a dime, man.
So quick. And Dan, how long were the headaches going on for?
Probably about a month, I'd say, maybe 3 weeks, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But like massive headaches, man. We're talking like I had to sit down occasionally and like just let the headaches pass. It was all caused from the pressure build up in my head, right?
Yeah. So you mentioned, right, 2 traumatic brain injuries and 2 emergency surgeries. Can you walk us through what the second one involved and how it compounded the challenges?
Well, that happened a year later. So if you don't mind, I'd like to talk about a few things that happened during the first rehab, if that would be okay?
Yeah. Yeah. So in your early rehab days, right, when progress felt impossible, what kept you from giving up on the excruciating exercises?
Well, I made a choice like to not give in to this. It's not fair it happened to me, but you know what? Life's not fair, right? So let's fight through this and grind through this. And those first few days, the first few weeks took the form of getting in the wheelchair 5 minutes faster than before. So 45 minutes, not 50, then 40, not 45. Small incremental things I could track and measure to show that I was making progress. But 45 minutes been going full send getting into a wheelchair is like excruciatingly long time, right? Every muscle in my body aching, tearing, screaming, crying. I'm like agonizing over 5 minutes faster. It was a long uphill battle to get rolling with this. And eventually I could transfer in the wheelchair in 5-10 minutes. But it was excruciating to get to that level of speed to get to the wheelchair that fast. The way the nurse got me talking again. Initially told my parents he may not be a talker. His vocal cords are fried from the tracheotomy and the breathing tube.
Yeah.
He may not be a talker again. My parents had built these files on me about who Dan is in the coma so the nurses would take better care of me. It was their thinking. And then there's files, they said, Dan's a sportsman, a master's graduate. Here's his girlfriend, Demi. He travels around Europe. He's done this and that. She read the file and she goes, Dan's a sportsman. I'll get him talking again. So some kids were playing football, soccer across the park. She goes, Dan, those kids across the park, they don't think you're good enough to talk, Dan. They don't think you're good enough to talk. And she stepped back. And I yelled across the park some profanities inspiring your team today. But I found out what motivated you, proving you wrong. Ignited a fire in me that I can't even explain to you. I wanted to prove you wrong. So like everything was as arduous, difficult, fighting, climbing, clawing to this, like the next step, the next breath, like voice, the next word.
Everything was
So
a challenge.
It was an uphill battle for sure.
Yeah.
In the Wilson Rehab Center, I learned how to walk again. In order to walk, I had a splint over my left leg. Splints like a cast over your leg to gently ease the leg muscle back into shape. Now, the first night I wore the splint through the night, no issue, no stress. This will be easy, I thought. This will be easy. And see, it's not going to be easy, right? Second night, after 20 minutes was painful. After 30 minutes was dreadful. After 40 minutes was unbearable. I buzzed the nurse, take the splint off my leg because I can't handle the pain. But I told them before they left the room, tomorrow we're doing this for an hour. I'm a walker, I can handle the pain.
Yeah.
Big talk. Third night, they're up the leg, tied off the ankle. Give me the clicker, the nurse call button. They go patrol the Wilson ward, and the Wilson ward was an L shape, so short on this side, long on this side, right? Short on this side, long on this side. Leave me in that hospital room that smells like when a hospital room can smell. Sanitized, sterilized. It's clean, but you're wondering what sort of atrocities have been committed to the guys that love and existence. After 10 minutes, the leg's painful. After 20 minutes, the leg's dreadful. After 30 minutes, the leg's unbearable. I start passing the clicker back and forth, trying to distract myself from the pain. As the pain ratchets up, my throats get more enthusiastic. Till eventually, inevitably, I drop the clicker, and it lands on the hard linoleum floor 3.5 feet down the ground. Sugar, I say. Now, Jimmy, I did not say sugar. Many adjectives of sugar were used, but sugar was not one of them. I looked over the edge of the bed. There's the clicker there lying on the floor looking back at me. If I can only get to that clicker, I can stop this pain. I can end this monstrosity. Only problem was, a fall from that height might break my arm.
Yeah.
In fact, I figured about a 50-50 chance to break my arm. A coin flip. Not the best odds. I changed tack. I'm trying to untie the splint, but it's tied off the ankle, not at the hip. I can't reach that far down. I'm not that flexible. Help! Help! I'm yelling at the top of my lungs. The wood was an L shape, right? Short on this side, long on this side. Short on this side, long on this side. Nurse here at the far end of the ward. You can't hear me out for help. I decided to flip the coin, drop down and go grab the clicker. Even if I break my arm, the splint's got to come with like this part number 1, 2, and 3. I lower myself up there to the bed, crash down in a heap, blankets, wires, cables, all go. The arm holds, and I hammer the clicker, expecting the nurse to come bursting into the room like the bat syndrome put up. I kind of stroll in 5 minutes later. What are you doing the phone of? First of all, I say. That's a fantastic British accent there. Would you say it for me again? Jimmy, I did not say that. So let's see. Let's flip top my legs to tell you all about this. It's not what happens to you, but how you respond to the matters, right?
Yeah.
The reason why I'm telling you the story is I learned 3 lessons from this experience. First lesson being, let's not pass the clicker back and forth. That's a bad idea. Second lesson being, let's tie the splint up at the hip, not the ankle. That way I can untie this should this happen going forwards. And the third lesson being, and probably most profound, was let's always be solutions oriented for this going forwards. When things go sideways in life, which sure as you're born they will, how do you resolve your issue? How do you fix your problem? And I carried that mindset on the rehab growth trajectory with me afterwards. Now, one final story, and I'll pass it back over to you, Jimmy. So now it came time to walk in Tooting Broadway. So, Jimmy, have you been to London, England?
No, I have not.
All right. So Tooting Broadway is an area in South London, an area they call up and coming. Think loud sirens, drugs, gangs. It's dirty, it's hectic, and boy, is it busy. Walk with a cane, I walk with an eye patch. After 4 months in a wheelchair, I'm literally Bambi on ice. I turn the corner to walk on the high street first time. Immediately get slammed into by someone.
Oh.
I stagger back a few feet. Someone else scurries past me on the right-hand side. I thought I was done with the rats. Someone had been stabbed on the sidewalk over here. I'm thinking, this is a pretty wild place to learn how to walk. After a few days of this, I was thinking, this is the worst place to learn how to walk in the world. Can't they see I'm trying to walk here? Can't they see I'm trying here? And then one day my perspective shifted. This isn't the worst place to learn how to walk in the world. I mean, it's the best. If I can walk here, I can walk anywhere.
Yeah.
And Tooting Broadway didn't change, right? We went from the worst to the best in my mind, and my mood reflected that. What are you looking at in your life you're convinced is the worst? Convinced is the absolute worst. Hey, maybe it is. We can find a way to turn down the suck a little bit, shift that perspective a little bit. Iron Mike Tyson famously said, everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth.
Yeah.
Now, your punch may not be a brain hemorrhage, right? Facts. It'll be a job loss, a breakup, diagnosis for you, a loved one. You will take that punch in the mouth. How you respond? I'm offering a compass, not a map, but a compass. It always points towards true north. Look at things like mindsets, perspectives, and hacks. Hacks will allow you and your team to better than yesterday, tomorrow. My name's Dan MacQueen, and the reason why I told you that story to walk into Broadway is when you change the way you look at the world you look at changes. And you don't need a brain hemorrhage to understand that. So I share that story to kind of showcase the practical applications of what lessons learned through recovery are.
Yeah.
To showcase how I kind of constantly leveled up and rose to the occasion when stuff went wrong in my life and sideways. But it was arduous, grimy, difficult, one step forward, 10 steps back kind of vibes. It was uphill battle the whole way.
And how long was that, Dan, that process for when you were starting, when you were learning to walk, learning to talk? How long did that take?
Talking took about maybe a week or two. Walking took about 3 months. Yeah, about 3-4 months, I'd say.
So that leads me to the next question, right? You say, right, there's nothing like a brain injury to refocus the mind. What specific realizations about life and priorities hit you hardest during recovery?
A good question. I think when your world gets kind of shattered in that way, where everything's taken away from you, you kind of realize what matters. And the stuff that you were chasing in the past kind of loses its meaning. What I'd give to be able to walk normally and talk without issue, or be able to stay awake for 10 minutes without falling asleep, or not be able to like walk without a cane. Like, it's just like everything was taken away from you, right? So you start reprioritizing what matters in life, and that's health, friendship, family, like connections matter much more than I realized. And I kind of doubled down on those since the injury, but like it just refocused my whole perspective on life. I realized that I was, worried about stuff that didn't really matter in the end. Like, this stuff doesn't matter. This is the stuff that does matter when you're down the mat counting your next one, right? Change your whole perspective on life.
And Dan, so how did relearning, right, something as basic as smiling, change your perspective on what we take for granted every day?
Well, the thing about smiling, right? Like, it's just like something you just do. But like, I had been in the hospital for a while, not really looking at mirrors. So like my smile was very much like a grimace. And I had to really relearn how to like look in the mirror and remember how to smile again. But like that level of complete destruction takes you down in the studs, man. And like you realize, well, this is all like a gift when when you're healthy. Like it's all happy days when you're healthy, but when you're not healthy, it's like what it wouldn't give you able to just like be able to walk in and smile at you. And that gets taken away from you, and you realize, man, I was looking at this whole life thing all wrong before this.
I think, I think we all do, right? You had the traumatic the brain hemorrhage, and I think we all look at life, right? We oftentimes take it for granted that tomorrow's guaranteed, that tomorrow's going to come for all of us, right? And that, I say it all the time living here in the States, right? We're very fortunate. I have a great job. I got running water. I got my health. And it's things like, that you've gone through, that you've endured, right? People would say, they don't know what you're going through, right? Daily, just what it's like to get up in the morning, what it's like to keep going. And here you are going through your rehab, right? And what is it like, right? What's it like? Is mom and dad there and your friends there? Who's there for you when you're doing that?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm still at home with my parents now. I moved back home after being in London for 10 years, working as a keynote speaker. So really trying to get that business off the ground now. Like fatigue's still a massive issue. I got to take, big sleeps in the nighttime and an hour nap in the afternoon. Fatigue's a massive issue. And my fatigue's not your fatigue. It's not like, oh, I get tired too. It's like, no, I can't do anything. I'm like molasses.
Yeah.
I can't think. I can't walk. I can't do anything complicated in the afternoon when I'm tired. So I'm very intentional with my time and my bandwidth. I work out like a maniac now to get into my body. It's moved from vanity to sanity. Yeah. So I swim 3 times a week in the pool, and I'll do big exercises on those days to try and get my strength count up. I've got a whoop strap, which counts my strain. This little whoop band here. I credit this thing for my health these days.
Yeah.
So I gamified life and I gamified exercise, which is
I got mine right here too.
Oh, right on, man. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it. It's a huge unlock for me. And I'm credited for why I'm so fit now, because I really gamified that strain count to really get that level up every day. But if I'm intentional with it, it's manageable. It's like I gotta be intentional with my time and my rest and my recovery, and my exercise. But if I'm not intentional with it, I can get off the tracks pretty easily, and I'm very dejected and very confused and slow. It's an intentional practice to get through this every day and to navigate the changes I've experienced in life. But it's manageable if I put my time in and my focus in correctly.
So what was the most meaningful way, right, someone showed up for you during your darkest times?
Well, so I break motivation down into 4 categories, right? Proving you wrong, proving you right, service, and proving myself right. My friend Claire Nash now, came to visit me in London on her way to Scotland. Visited me in the hospital. I was in a wheelchair at this stage. And she came in and she was so, Dan, you're doing so well. You're recovering so well here. I'm like, yeah, I'm trying. I'm showing that I try, but I could try harder. So she went up to Scotland for a week and she came back down. I was walking, albeit on the Zimmer frame, which is like a 4-post walker, but I wanted to prove her right. I wanted to prove her praise right. Like I can bullshit you to show that I'm trying, but I could try harder. I knew it myself. I could try harder. And people often say, like, how do you get so motivated in rehab? I'm like, well, how do you not, man? Like, this is my battle life. So the odds of being a human being are 400 trillion to 1.
Yeah.
400 trillion to 1. You will likely win the lotto 10 times in your lifetime in your life in the first place. You get to do this. I'm only Dan MacQueen because Blip was in my DNA. Without it, it wouldn't be me. I wouldn't trade myself for the world. I'm only Dan MacQueen because I have this brain hemorrhage. Without it, it wouldn't be me. Start reframing things in this kind of category, right? Something bad happens to you, it's like, well, this is my cards. I'm not going to muck the hand because I don't like the card. I'm going to play the hand of God. So that mindset is just like, if you get the mindset right, everything else falls into place after this, because it's like, well, you know how you're navigating this. I'm going to battle and fight because it's my life. So you don't have that question anymore. It's like a quick, yes, I'm doing this. And you just don't look back.
Yeah. So every day, right? Every day is a battle for you.
Every day I wake up with an intention, like a morning routine that gets me going. Like wake up, cold shower, meditate, exercise, full breakfast, onto the day, start the day right, same way. Gear up the same way every day to kind of get myself up in the sequence. And that's how I start my day.
Yeah. Same routine going. And so, Dan, what's it like? I know you were saying you have to take the afternoon nap, right? Like an hour nap. What happens if you don't get that nap? What happens?
I can make it through the day, like for a day or two that way, but I can't stretch it much more than that because I need the rest. I can, go for a coffee break or just take a meditation break where I just need to close my eyes and recharge the batteries. But it's like, I've got to do that to keep myself going. Otherwise, the fatigue just is so overwhelming and I can't think and process anything. So it's very, I think that's for life, to be honest. And that's okay.
Yeah.
I've learned to mitigate that now and to manage it properly. But it's like, initially I was like trying to push through it and be like, oh, I don't need a nap now. I gotta be strong here and push through this. It's like, no, I flounder and fail at whatever I'm trying to do if I don't do the nap or the break in the afternoon. So it's an ongoing thing, but it's like, I get to do this, right? And it's like that reframe of just like, it's a card I've got and I've just got to play that card. So like, I'm playing the card and I'm playing the best hand I've got with the card I've got.
And, you talk about gratitude, right? Gratitude comes up a lot in your story. How did you cultivate gratitude when your body and mind felt like they had betrayed you?
Well, that reframe of like, it's not what happens to you, but how you respond to it that matters. That's not mine. That's Epictetus, Stoic philosopher. Stoicism is something your listeners should really look into. Ryan Holiday wrote some really good books on this. Ego is the enemy. Discipline is destiny. Courage is calling. Help you reframe stuff in your mind to allow you to see what you can control, what you can't control. I quickly do like a check of this when something stressful comes up in my life. Like, can I control this? If yes, do something about it. If no, I punt it immediately. My life's very simple these days. Control it, yes. Do something about it. If no, I punt it immediately. I don't stress about it. I don't whinge about it. I don't moan about it. I focus on what I can control.
Yeah.
And my world gets a lot smaller and narrower then, and I can actually influence those stresses in my life. I don't waste my time spending time about what can happen here, what can happen there. It's like, no, this is what's in my front of my face, man. What's in front of your face? That mindset's so key for this. And if you get the mindset right, man, I don't think I can, like, I don't want to tempt fate or anything, but like, I don't think you can beat me because I just can't get the mindset of like, I get to do this.
Yeah. And that's powerful, right? The mind, the mind is powerful. And in yours, there's no quit, there's no giving up. You like you keep saying, and I know you keep referring it to. It's like, these are the cards that I'm dealt. I'm playing them out till the end, right?
Yeah, it's like that's life, man.
Yeah.
Everyone's got different cards. Everyone got different baggage. Everyone got different shit, right? It's like pardon language, but like that's just life. Life's always gonna have these issues where you're gonna have ups and downs. This is how you navigate through them. And now it's like I've got such a good toolkit to help navigate change. It's like that's why I speak, because I want to help show you the way through.
Yeah.
Because what a shame it would be to leave these lessons learned on the sidelines of life. Like I've learned this stuff through going through this. Let me tell you what it is. Now, can you fully absorb it without having gone through something difficult yourself? Probably not entirely, but like you get the concepts. If you get the concepts, when something hits you in life, you'd be like, oh no, Dan said to do it this way. And then like, if I do it that way, I can navigate this change successfully. And like, that's the game, right? Just mitigating the time and dwelling and feeling sorry for yourself and taking action.
Yeah. And like, I love what you said, right? Life's not a sideline sport, right? It's, you're in the field, you're playing and it's a contact sport. So, and here you are getting up every day, just grateful to be here. And, it's powerful. So waking up, right? I mean, you mentioned 2 traumatic brain injuries, right? And 2 emergency surgeries. Can you walk us through what the second one involved and how it compounded your challenges?
Yeah, sure. So I was back to work, released from most rehab center 6 months after the initial brain hemorrhage, 6 months of rehab at home. Then I'm back to work 2 up days a week, 3 up days a week. Not doing much of work, but I'm there. I'm contributing. I'm reading emails. I'm going through old things and getting myself to speed. I'm turning and burning in life. I'm getting back on track here, right? I used to be my mom with the 2 before I went to work in the morning. She'd go off on her walk and I'd go into the office. Happy days. One day I didn't show up. Calls my cell, no response. Walks to my flat, 5 minutes from Solgrove Road 2 station, or Goldhawk Road 2 station on Solgrove Road. Knocks on the door, no response. Opens the door. There I am collapsed on the floor. She calls 999, which is different than the States and Canada, which is 911. I'm rushed to the hospital. I wake up the next day in the hospital. The beeping noise, the heart going off behind me, beep, 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 beep. What happened? What happened? What happened? Well, Dan, you had a second emergency brain surgery. What do you mean? The shunt that's in my brain had blocked, leading to hydrocephalus or water on the brain. Very rare, they tell me. Less than 10% of cases this happens to. I'm thinking, lucky me, man. I just been working for a year to get back to the office to put this behind me. I was getting my life back on track, and then this thing comes and grabs me again. I describe my recovery like a W. First setback's down here, kind of scamper back up, halfway back up. Second setback's not where the first one was, much lower. The depths of the human experience. Hopes and dreams are snickered at. You thought you had a chance, bud. You ain't going nowhere. But now I'm on the rise, the upward trajectory. I'm climbing. I've learned these lessons through tough times, through rock bottom mentality. And now it's like I moved my branding on my website, which was released this week. It's go from why me to try me. And that's my ethos. It's just everything in my life is just, is that all you got? Try me. I think that adversarial, confrontational, combative nature helped me get through this. Like, I'm not good enough to be here. Watch this. Like, I love that motivating factor of just, I'm not good enough to be here. Let me show you. Try me. And I think that mentality can serve you as well. So go from why me to try me is my new branding. And that's best exemplified through that W story I just told you there about the second setback. But that second setback, man, like that was a lot. I did in rehab in person, so I wasn't entitled to go back to rehab because I had already done that in the file. But I had a second brain injury moment, told the doctors, and they said, on the file, it says you've done this once in the year and you're only entitled once a year. So I did a lot of this at home with my mom, rehabbing, and slowly got back to work, back to the gym, got back to meditation, back to the habits I built up. The rehab gains were lost, but I knew I could do rehab again faster because I just done rehab.
Yeah.
So the gains were lost, but I knew I could get them back because I just done this whole bloody process. I just done this whole system, and I can improve it this time. I could improve the steps and skip some steps because I knew they weren't useful. So we got back to work, and that was a very big mindset shift there and a big mindset piece to kind of hold me in place to navigate through this. But like it was a dogfight out of the gate, man. And I continue to climb back up on the W trajectory, right? I'm still climbing that, getting back up to where I want to be. And it's a long road and it's difficult to do, but it's like, I get to do this, man.
Yeah.
I should be dead. Like in all honesty, I should be dead a couple times over by now. So like I'm on borrowed time here, on like second chance, third chance, fourth chance of life. Like I don't fear death now. I fear not living a life that I'm not capable of. I'm caning this down the hill to be a keynote speaker now because I know my message is powerful. I know I'm good on stage. I know I can change lives. I can change your perspective. It's a drive in me that I can't describe. It's like, it pushes me forward. It pulls me forward. It's like an unrelenting get up and go kind of vibe, but it's like, I get to do this, man.
Yeah.
Let me share me some stories and lessons learned through my experience. It's not as bad as you think. It's always darkest towards dawn. I thought I was dead a couple times. Like I thought I was dead to rights, but I wasn't going to let myself let go. I said, if it takes me, it takes me. I'm not going to let go and let it take me. And I held on for dear life and eventually it broke. And eventually it broke the second time. But you can't let go. You got to try. That's the most important. I would say try. That's the most important bit. You got to try. You got to put effort in. You got to fail. Show me your failures. I don't really fail that much. Well, I guess you're not trying hard enough. Failure is a key part of learning, right? If you don't fail, you're not trying. And failure shows up in a lot of ways. Like it could be going for the promotion, asking the girl, or asking the guy out, like speaking on stage in front of people that you're not comfortable with and flubbing up a slide or messing this up. Like it's like, I don't care if you see me fail. I'm caning this down the hill, man. I'm not sparing the horses because I get to do this. Second chance of life, third chance of life. I fear not ever trying doing this when I knew I could do it. That's what I fear more than dying, to be honest.
And so no second of any day goes wasted anymore, right, Dan?
Not really. It's like I live intentionally. That's not to say like I'm a robot, but like I'm kind of a cyborg. I've got enough metal in me and gear in me to kind of make me a cyborg probably, but like I get to do this, man. And it's an intentional way of living life. And it's a way that I'm really honored and grateful of the opportunity to do.
Yeah.
Because I get to do this, man.
Yeah. Dan MacQueen gets to do it, right? So the hashtag, right, better than yesterday, is central to your message. How did that mindset evolve from a personal mantra to the core of your speaking work?
Yeah, good question. So I'm very routine based with my life and my schedule, my weeks. You know, on Mondays I do this, on Tuesdays I do this, Wednesday, Thursday I do that. Very routine based, but I tweak the routine ever so slightly, week over week, month after month, year after year, to improve my vibe and my daily practice. So every week I'm trying something small and different in that routine to tinker with it, but everything else is the same. So I'm doing this over weeks, months, and years so I can stack this up and improve my lot. And I managed to make some pretty phenomenal weeks because I've got a really good schedule going now and a really good routine-based thinking. But it limits the bandwidth I have to think about other stuff in my life, right? Because everything's so routine-based, I can tweak little things and make a yes/no decision about that's good to keep. For instance, I've used to grab sandwich and eat the sandwich at the grocer and then walk down to the pool. But now I grab the sandwich, go to the coffee shop, have the coffee there, eat the sandwich there because it's nice to vibe, and then walk down to the pool.
Yeah.
A small, stupid thing, but it's like, it makes my day that much better than yesterday. And that's like stacked over weeks and months of trying this out and failing it out and trying different practices and stuff. But it's like always tinkering, right? Always improving.
So you promise, right, to change the room. What's the biggest transformation you've witnessed in an audience after one of your talks?
So I see my keynote business started out of a talk I used to give for outpatients at Wolfson Rehab Center in London, England. My old rehab center. I talk a lot about swimming in my talks, how much I enjoy it, how much I go for swims, and it just like helps me to recharge and get my exercise in the bag. And I had one patient say after the talk, Dan, before the brain injury, I used to swim a lot. Since the injury, I haven't swam because it's so labor intensive to go swimming and get changed and practice and all this stuff. After hearing you talk, Dan, I'm going to try swimming again. That's all he said. I'm going to try swimming again. Maybe he tried one time and gave it up, never swim again. Who knows? Maybe he's still swimming now because of what I said to him. Try, that's the most important bit. First days I went in the pool, I would change for 30 minutes, swim for 5, change for 30 minutes, do nothing. Yesterday I was in the pool for 70 lengths in 60 and 53 minutes. It's about ratcheting up small, aim small, miss small, and then ratcheting up. That's the new baseline. What this looks like in your life is like I meditate every morning for 20 minutes. Don't start with 20 minutes, you'll fail. But I did 2 minutes in the morning. Next week I did 4. Ratchet up to 4. That's the new baseline. Then I did 6. Then 8, then 12, then 14, then 16.
So small little
for 2
increments,
minutes more. 2 minutes more. It's not that hard to do 2 minutes more, right?
Yeah.
But then that's a new baseline. And that's what I do 4 minutes now. I do 6 minutes now. I do 8 minutes now. Before you know it, you're doing 20 minutes in the morning. That's how you hit huge goals through small, meaningful decisions you make. And you rash up that new baseline.
Yeah.
That's how you can accomplish big goals, is through that mindset of this decision a day and aim small, miss small, and ratchet. Ratchet's the key word there. That's the new baseline. Once you hit the 2 minute mark, that's the new baseline. And then 4 minutes is the new baseline. That's how I've accomplished these big goals, is through small incremental improvement.
Well, I think, Dan, right, people, when they hear the story, they'll, your story and what you're talking about, I think people will say, oh, well, 20 minutes, like you said in the beginning, everybody wants to hop in and do it 20 minutes, right? But if you start off at 2 and work your way up, 2 minutes every week and ratchet it up, small goals turn into big gains, right?
Yeah, don't start with 20 minutes. You'll fail, I guarantee you. Don't think of a pink elephant. Who's thinking of a pink elephant right now? Everybody. But 2 minutes in the morning, who can't do 2 minutes?
Yeah.
So on a podcast, we're like, well, some people can't do 2 minutes. Like, look, my talk's not for everyone. If you can't do 2 minutes, don't listen to what I'm saying.
Exactly.
But 2 minutes in the morning, and then next you do 4. That's the new baseline, then do 6. That's how you reach big goals, through small, consistent action. You ratchet it up. If you fail at a goal, it doesn't mean the goal's audacious. It means that step is too big. Pick a smaller target before the next step. That's how you get to big goals.
So, Dan, dark humor, right, and lighthearted hacks seem to be part of your style. How has humor helped you personally cope and connect with others?
If you don't laugh, you cry, man. Like, honestly, like, it's so grim in the hospital days. Like, if you don't laugh at this, like, this is ridiculous. Look at my situation right now. If you don't laugh at it, you're just going to be like, this is the worst. This sucks. This is horrible. I don't like crying very much. So I laugh at it, make jokes, self-deprecating, and just roll with the punches, man. It's like, it's just how you choose to go through life, right? You can whinge about it or you can be about it. And if you be about it, you can make dry, dark human jokes about this and have fun with it. It's life. It's going to be messy. There's some funny bits that come with it. If you can't laugh at yourself, what are we doing this for, man?
Yeah. So for someone out there, right, for some of my listeners facing a fresh, overwhelming challenge right now, what's the very first small action you'd urge them to take today?
Get a piece of paper, write down what's stressing you out for 2 minutes, 5 minutes, draw a line underneath it, then draw a line down the middle of that paper. What can I control on one side? What I can't control on the other side? Fill out that out. Cross out what you can't control. Focus on what you can control. Bring that to a new piece of paper, and then write out a couple things you can do to navigate that stuff next week, next month, next year. Break it down into small, consistent action you can actually do and make a change over. But the first thing I really recommend is get into your body. Mood follows action. So that could be exercise, it could be yoga, that could be gym, that could be swim, that could be a walk, that could be running, yoga. Mood follows action. So get into your body, but do that exercise as well. And I think you'd be in a good way to at least understand where you can start navigating this change successfully.
Dan, how has your relationship with time and energy shifted since the injury? And what do you wish more people understood about managing both?
Yeah, time and energy are very delicate things. I need to be very, not reactive, perceptive of my own limitations and own bandwidth. And I got to respect my battery much more than I used to. I can't push through it when things are getting tough. I got to take a break, recharge the batteries, refresh, and prepare myself to be intentional with my next day so I can be better that day. Just don't take it for granted, man. Realize that the machine needs to be taken care of. Your body, you got to eat clean, work out, meditate. Treat your body like a temple. You got one meat vehicle in this world. Really treat your body properly. I'm very cognizant of what I eat and consume and exercise with now. A bit perhaps too controlling, but like it's like I can control that element of my life, so I'm going to do that. So I think just have more respect for your body and what you got to do with this, and get into your body and earn that exercise, earn that trust, earn that body you've got.
So for everybody that's going to be watching on YouTube, right? If you see Dan's special guest, Dan MacQueen, if you click that when you're on YouTube, that's going to bring you directly right to Dan's page.
Thanks,
So
bros.
no problem at all, pal. So you've set bold post-recovery goals, right? Like skiing again after years. What advice do you give on dreaming big when the body or circumstances say no?
Why not, man? Why not? Why can't
Yeah.
you do it? Like I skied 4 years ago after, I was in the wheelchair after the brain injury, early days from Wolfson Rehab Center, or at Charing Cross Hospital, actually, the first hospital I was at, working on the even bars. Now, even bars, just what they sound like, even bars you hold when you're unstable on your feet. Still in a wheelchair at the stage, and the rehab team asked me what I was most looking forward to get back to doing. I thought about it. Growing up, played everything: soccer, hockey, volleyball, softball, skiing. Skiing would be the most difficult, I thought. Balance, core strength, depth perception, double vision, which I still have, would make things interesting. Gauging obstacles at speed. If I could ski again, I'd have to be pretty away physically, I thought. I'd like to ski again, I told them. They paused, nodded in agreement. Okay, they said, that's a good goal. Their eyes betrayed them. Now, fast forward to 2022, 10 years from my last ski trip in Morrissey and Fence. The basic Grouse Mountain Super Sky Ride. Remember this old hack with the boys, my friends Andrew and RJ. The last one on the gondola. That way you can rest your skis in your poles and the doors closed behind you. So we get the whole shot, get the spot on the door, put our skis up and rest, get our gear looking right. Run up on the gondola over the first tower, big forwards, big back. We're climbing up and I'm thinking, hope it comes back. They'll close your eyes, they'll take the last leg of the gondola ride. Feeling a bit cold in your cheeks. Not a lot, but enough to let you know you're at altitude. Dock of the station. Walk to the station with a gear, clomp, 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 clomp. Open the doors and new walls, shine lit at your face. Big inhale through your nose. Smell the pines, the cedars, the hemlocks, down the stairs, clang, 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 onto the snow, crunch, crunch, crunch. It's soft back, it's spring. Open your eyes, please. Got situated with the boys, Andrew and RJ, and after 10 years off the slopes, I skied. And I skied like I never missed a day. 3 pumps of the poles into a left-hand turn again and again and again. To say this is possible would be a lie. This is through and through a moonshot goal, something bold to aspire to. Something, if I can only get back to in this, wouldn't that be something? Here I am skiing. You'll have goals you're aiming at, things you're shooting for. What's holding you back? You're not able to walk, not able to talk, not able to smile. Reminded me of this quote from Confucius that hit me a bit different the first time I heard it. He said, we all have 2 lives, and the second begins when we realize that we only have one. So I skied up Grouse Mountain 10 years after the last ski trip I was on. Something that the nurses told me I could do, but they didn't think it was possible I was doing this. And I'm skiing like I never missed a day. I got video of this, like tight turns. I used to be a ski instructor, so I was a pretty good skier back in the day. But it was a phenomenal triumph and a big win for me. But I got through small incremental improvements. I didn't just say I'm not going to do anything and ski 10 years later. I visualized, I stretched out. It was on the balance board. I really worked my body to get myself ready for this ski trip. And I skied. But I got through small, consistent steps, not through one big moonshot step that was going to either make or break. It was like such a small step to ski that I knew I couldn't fail. I was so close to doing it. So like you got to risk that failure to take those steps. And it's scary and it seems impossible, but like through small, consistent action, you can get there over time. And it takes work and it takes practice and dedication, but you can do this stuff.
So Dan, last question, right? Looking back, if you could speak to the 20-year-old Dan right before the hemorrhage, what would you tell him about life, mindset, and what's truly important?
It's not what happens to you, but how you respond to it that matters. Embody that, live that, and fight like hell. You can get through this. If you embody that little Stoic through line, right? It's not what happens to you, but how you respond to it that matters. Man, you can overcome anything in the world that faces you, right? It's not, you're not dead in rights. You're growing, you're building, you're scheming, you're tinkering, you're toying, you're building yourself up. It's possible, man. Like my life, I thought I was dead to rights a couple times. But I wasn't going to let go. I wasn't going to let it take me. If it took me, it took me, but I wasn't going to let go for it. It's not what happens to you, but how you respond to that matters. Every day I decide to choose that battle for that day. I call this dad decision of the day. You just fight the battle for that day. And the next day, the next day. But like, it's not what happens to you, but how you respond to it that matters is what I'd say to my younger self.
So Dan, thank you for sharing so openly and powerful today. Your journey isn't just about survival. It's about thriving, reframing, and lifting others along the way. You've shown us that setbacks don't have to define us. Our response to them does. You've already changed rooms, changed perspectives, and changed lives, including, I have no doubt, many listeners right now. To our listeners, if Dan's story moved you, take that spark and apply one small action today to be better than yesterday. Reach out, share this episode, and keep pushing forward. Dan MacQueen, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for being here, for your courage, your humor, and your unbreakable spirit. You're proof that resilience isn't something people have and others don't. It's something we all can choose every single day. Keep changing rooms, my friend. The world needs more of what you're bringing. Until next time, everyone, stay grateful, stay gritty, and keep being better than yesterday. And don't forget what Dan said. Change that mind frame from why me to try me. Thank you so much, Dan.
Cheers, man.